Kia ora te whānau whānui. Welcome to the final match on the final day of the 2025 Trans Tasman Test Series. You can hear, well, maybe you can't, but the music is going hard in my ears. It's a party atmosphere. Unfortunately today for the Australian team, the Candice New Zealand Open men's team who got so close last night come out and spoil the party. Rain on the parade. It has been the Australian contingents up to this point. We've just seen an amazing game between the New Zealand and Australia Open women's team. I'm joined here in commentary with no other than Reese Allen. Reese, before we leave the women's game and look at this men's game, what were your overall thoughts of that women's game we just seen?
Just caught up with Pete McIntyre, the New Zealand Open women's head coach, and just said as another New Zealand coach to Pete, although it's an 0-3 series defeat to Australia, 9 debutantes, he's got to be proud of what he's just achieved. You know, it's an achievement to be 1-0 up against an Australian Open women's side with 9 debutantes. I keep going back to it. 3 years out from a World Cup campaign. I really do hope that this group can stay together, both staff and players in their squad, to really push forward. I know it's a long way away, but Australia will already be in cycle, and we've just got to match them as much as we can. Super proud as someone from Aotearoa, New Zealand, on their efforts. But once again, Australia just know how to get it done. We've got to come up with that last 5-10%. And I can see walking across, Pete will be going through his quick reflections before he rejoins the team. Likes to just give the team a little bit of separation after games. And before we do move on to this men's fixture, I'm proud of what they've just done. You can see there's a glaring change in the guard, and rightly so this early out. With another couple of series coming up in the next couple of years before a World Cup here on home soil. So yet to be determined where, Maya. But you can't beat these facilities. I keep going back to it. Bring it on down to Waiponami. It's where it's at.
Well, I'm happy if you're going to provide the golf clubs and the golf shoes and the golf tee times. I'd be more than happy for it to be back here. No, but an amazing venue. I just think, again, before we look at the men's open, I find we're often talking about the growth of our New Zealand teams over the course of a series, and we're thinking, oh, hey, look, this looks really good. We're often talking about how close we got to Australia. There has to be a point where we stop talking about how close we got and we're talking about wins. And I think, structurally, we need to find ways that we can keep these teams together. 9 debutants, but last year I think there was 6. And that's not just in the women's team, but in the other teams too. We have to find a way to keep these teams together. I look at the club and provincial stuff, but even more really the club stuff that we have here in New Zealand, the commitment that those players have to those clubs, the passion, the pride, the mana that they give towards those club teams. I wonder if it's the same here when they put the New Zealand thing on. I'm not for a second am I saying that they aren't proud to wear that silver fern, but just that overt pride in terms of a lot of their club teams, and when you look at those club tournaments, I just wonder if we need to find a why and really, really emphasise that here in the New Zealand system so that our players have an even more of a burning desire and a passion when they put that black singlet on.
Yeah, well, there's so many club competitions now, Maya, and being involved with a couple of clubs myself, I know the passion that's involved. And am I seeing that same passion at the provincial level? I don't know. You and I have talked about this off mic, and I think sometimes maybe we've just got too much touch, and often too much isn't exactly the best thing. More quality. So, yeah, it's to be seen, but I definitely think there needs to be a change in scope on what we're doing. But that's a personal view, the money that's involved in our sport and what players have to continually fork out to play this game here in New Zealand in particular, but I suppose globally, being an amateur sport. But, man, the touch we're seeing here, this is not amateur. This is elite performances going out there. And, yeah, although there's 2 series already gone here for New Zealand, and with the men's 2-0 down, and it's a sweep by Australia, man, we're doing things, we're getting better and better, but there's still that separation between the two countries, and we've got to find our own way. Let's not be too quick to copy what Australia do. Let's find our own way. And I believe it comes down to connection, respect, all our te whakapono, ki ngā tangata, believing in each other, creating our whakawhanaungatanga, our connections within each other. That's what we have different, our connection to the land as well. We need to harness that.
We see the referees walking out here. Obviously, they've decided to walk out in height order. On our left, we have Logan Forrester from New Zealand. Got Dave Baggio from Australia. I've said it every day. One of the best to lace it up in a referee uniform. And Kim Skelly, elevated into this game yesterday, remains in it for Game 3. A lot of penalties in the game yesterday. I had a conversation with a couple of the people in the referee system down here and sort of said as such. I'll tell you what, there hasn't been a call that I've been asked more about than that final call yesterday in terms of the obstruction call that would have tied things up. I think if it was 29-0 and that happened, probably was what it was, but because it was 9-8 or 8-7, whatever it was, it would have tied it up. New Zealand had fought their way back into it. I think the emotion with regards to that call was the topic of conversation yesterday.
Look, being a Broncos fan, I now understand what the Warriors feel like. And in saying that, up the Waz took you to come to Christchurch to get a quality win over the Newcastle Knights. It's been a massive weekend down here in Ōtautahi Christchurch, actually, with the Warriors here, and the Crusaders were down south in Dunedin, but it's still a Te Waiponomi fixture. The Battle of the Mainland, we call it, and now we get to finish off the weekend on this beautiful Sunday mid-morning here with a third test match, New Zealand Open men's versus Australian Open men's, the pinnacle of our sport, ready to go.
Should I be congratulating on you running for local council, and just in terms of the comments you made around this? It is an incredible city, isn't it? Made that comment actually when we're going into town. We're down there in the Eat Street, is it, or that Eat area where there's all those different restaurants. As much destruction as there has happened, I tell you what, the life down there is just so cool. The vibe in the middle of the city is amazing. But the vibe here is going to get absolutely hot in about 5 minutes' time, after we, for the last time, hear the national anthems played for both of these men's teams. Australia taking out the series yesterday, 2-0. So close to going to a drop-off, and who knows who could have got on top by the end of that one. New Zealand, can they do what they've just seen the Open Women's do? Some will say a dead rubber. I have no doubt they're not thinking this at all. Be interesting. What's the Australian team? I've seen a couple of exclusions. Dylan Hennessy and Kai Simbolin. I thought Kai was mean yesterday. He was into everything. And Dylan, well, you just need to say his name and everyone knows the rest. So those two players not playing, I wonder the impact of that. Is this a look to the future with regards to having Dylan come out? Who knows? So it'll be interesting to see the impact the two players that come into this Australian Open men's team have. these two teams, but for this competition, will we hear the national anthems of Australia and New Zealand? It's been a great contest between these two teams, particularly in yesterday's game. Could have been anyone's. You look again as the two teams make their way from the national anthems and into their warm-ups. Both teams look really focused. Reece, there's not the loud energy noise, but there is a definite focus. Body language looks really good from both teams here.
Yeah, 100% tuitahi rā. Kia whai wau, ki te whai whakaro, ki te whānau pewhairangi I tēnei o nā wā. Mēnā e rongo ana koutou, te whānau kaha ki te tautoko tō mātana kēmu o te pā. Kia piki te ora ki a koe te whaia, e noho ana ki roti te hohi pera. Mā o whānau e uhi ana I a koe, mana atua koe e manaki he tiaki, e whakapiki ana I tō oranga e mihi ana e te whaia rā. Hoki mai ki a tātou. Yeah, Maya. This open men's side for New Zealand, understand that there's a couple of players influential yesterday that won't be playing today.
Yeah, Terry Davis not in this one today, as well as Toby Snellgrove. Be interesting to see again the impact of the absence of those two players, but then you're bringing in the two that you have. Just looking at Finn Barnett, I tell you what, he's an energizer bunny, isn't he? A talisman for this New Zealand team. Had an outstanding game yesterday, scoring some tries he had no right to and stopping others you thought they were impossible. So need a big game again from him. It was great to see Matty Sinclair hands on the ball a lot more. The introduction of Kirk and Foulkes into the team. I know, again, a local product here that you're extremely proud of. Harry Kirk had an outstanding game. So interest in this one for sure. It's been an absolute honour and a privilege to work with the Screenshot crew and the great pictures that they have provided for us all to be watching at home, and to all the viewers that have tuned in over the last 3 days locally from Australia and around the world. You have been absolutely privileged to watch the best players in the world, the best teams in the world play in the best event that there ever will be, a Trans Tasman Series, to the event organisers and the mahi that you have done over the last 6 months, and in particularly this week. A massive shout out to you all. It's been an incredible event, but particularly to whoever organised the weather, Reece. What beautiful it is. Australia tap us off in the third and final men's open game for the 2025 Trans Tasman Test Series. Griffin straight into his work. Ball to ground there. Lance Davids yesterday, he was outstanding, wasn't he, Reece?
Outstanding, much better than day one. Was influential on the ball. Didn't lift too high in his link defence. New Zealand, after a good defensive set, come in with a lot of heat. Looking forward to seeing Morgan Pukerangi. Here he goes on the ball with a scoop onto the short side. Harry Kirk again, as you mentioned. Extremely proud, but he's got to just keep putting in the mahi, and he works really hard.
First time I've seen Morgan Pukerangi without strapping around one of his lower limbs. I thought he was outstanding yesterday. Maybe he's had that on precautionary, but after his performance yesterday, he'd be feeling really good and really confident. He's an outstanding player. Good from both teams, just finishing their sets. This one looks like it's a forward pass. They've started hot, haven't they? No team's warming into this one. They've hit the ground running, both of them.
Yeah, that's right. Both teams great through the orange zone. You would expect nothing less. A lot of work goes into it. Far side link here. Harry Kirk looking to sweep for touch 2. Driving the ball here. Poihipi for touch 3. E4 Jones on the latch play. Younger brother, Avion on the plant. Willison on the scoop. Into the short side. Good defence, good communication by Australia. Ding-dong battle ahead here. As Australia take those first couple of touches through the middle of the field. Looking to get that early latcher on. Skipping into the middle of the field. Finn Barnett working hard as a winger. Last touch option here. Goes to the short side, comes back to the right hand. Beautiful catch, sliding catch there by Australia.
Yeah, unfortunately the winger for New Zealand just lost his footing as he tried to work his way out to the wing. Hopefully we'll catch it here on the replay. We see the big pass thrown from Hayden Moffett, but losing his feet. What's the 14 for New Zealand? Trey Poihipi. He's been outstanding, one of the best for New Zealand in the first 2 games. Unfortunately there, he's losing his feet. Australia up 1, 2.5 minutes into this one.
I think there's going to be a lot of tries in this one on the Sunday. Getting close to lunchtime here in Christchurch, New Zealand. New Zealand will look to fight back. Davids comes in, hits Sinclair. Back into a cheeky passive play. Nice reset piece there. Last top touch option gets into the in goal. Finn Barnett looking to chop that hole between winger and link. Ball goes down. Still a completed set by New Zealand.
Nearly 3 minutes gone and only one penalty. That's a big difference. We've had probably up to 5 in one of the games in this men's open grade. So it's great to see a lot more flow allowed to happen in this one.
Australia here working well off their orange zone into an attack strike. Coming to the open side. Run catch pass by the Australian men's. Held the ball. Great hands. That's twice now we've seen the 2 Australian wingers being able to catch a relatively difficult pass. That one's go down low. He's held the ball there. Almost picture perfect from the other side.
What do New Zealand need to do differently defensively on their left-hand side, Reece?
Not much. That's just high-quality attack at speed. They've just got to match themselves down this end of attack. You know, they've really got to go toe-to-toe with the attack. They've got field position here. Meyer, E4 Jones, right person on the ball. Turner looking to get the plant in. Jones will look to set himself up. He'll try and be live so he can bring his dive in. Checks back to him. Here he comes now. 32 Peel looking for his option. Tip on by Willison. Not effective this time. Great wing play by Reihana Suta. Coming out of the Ngāti Hine Māori team. Australia staying composed on attack here. Coming in on the pick off the right hand again. Looking to go open side. Bringing it back on the last touch here.
Dumb play, real dumb play. That's unfortunately what it was. There's absolutely no need, and I'm sure he knows that there's not much arguing with that call. It was just a 6th touch, and I guess that sometimes the ego slips in. You're giving this team a fresh set, and if they go and score a touchdown here, you wonder if it was worth it. And there it is again, just so easy. They just defended really, really well. Australia get across for their 3rd touchdown.
It goes back to the penalty, the unnecessary penalties you called it, and then they just split away, and Poihipi comes in looking to hit the link, and it's a flick over the top. And Australia Open men's, just like that, they can get you. It's 3-0. Harry Kirk working his way into this pod here. Here's the drive. Morgan Pitarangi gets the bounce out play by Davids. Looks in great condition.
Yeah.
Danian. Lance will play the ball here. Plants again, looking for the quick play, looking to use his footwork. Like the way he's working in the middle of the field. Here it is. Here's the Peel play with the outs again. Great quick hands by Kirk. Step back dive by Barnett. Great quick hands. Started from the platform on the early release. Goes to Kirk.
He had some words for the counterpart from Australia. Did Finn Barnett, letting Jack Edwards know, don't chase too hard, buddy. I'll step inside you. You turn around, you hear him saying it to them. They looked at each other. I'm sure Edwards won't care too much. He's probably said something like, check the scoreboard out. 3-1 New Zealand, though.
Yeah, perfect play, perfect result for New Zealand. Fighting hard here. As Australia straight away on attack. I'll run you through this replay. But once again, coming off the right-hand side, it's the quick release to the middle player. Link draws and holds the winger long enough to release his own winger. And Reihana Suta just a little too tight on his link. And they score. I hope the New Zealand Open men's don't get their heads down too quick here, to the disappointment of that little turnover there. Unnecessary there from New Zealand.
And connection's not there. The comms aren't there. The only way you can keep that connection happening on field is through your communication. Fortunately, people on different pages. Look at a team like Australia. There is only one page and they're all reading the same sentence.
Huge lift there from E4 Jones at link. Great defence. Early on in his career, wasn't a noted defender, but has really been trying to hone that part of his game to become a great all-rounder for New Zealand. Drives hard well there. Looks to sub off Fridge. Sub is coming on here. I was just going to say yet to see Turner, but here he goes, injects himself. Morgan Putarangi on the release play. Long ball off the right hand. Looking for the step back in.
Could we have just gone drawing past there and kept numbers, Reece? Or no, that definitely right option, just unfortunately didn't execute it.
Yeah, I think to the common man, a draw pass sounds pretty safe, but against this Australian side, they're just so fast. And they're just working really well through this orange zone. New Zealand really need to foot it here. They've got to keep getting off the line. They've got to do everything they can to stop this momentum. Great lift there by Turner. Last touch coming off the right hand again. Goes to the short side.
Hayden Moffett, he made it look easier in the earlier touchdown. He does it again. Just picks up from dummy half. Gets into in goal. Again, looked like with a lot of ease. Left and right. Fakes to pass it short, then links up with the winger holding his space real well. Pretty sure that was Kenny, or was it Longbridge? Yep, it was Kenny there, the number 12, Malcolm Kenny. Goes across for Australia's 5th, now up by 4.
Yeah, unfortunately there, the toucher gave up his corner. Expected the ball to go back to the left and got cooked on the short side, so won't be happy with that. Will look to redeem himself here. Sinclair looking to orchestrate the attack. Has Jones on the left-hand side here. Penalty awarded. Can hear the comms coming through the camera. Referees have been very clear on what they're demanding from the players. Sinclair feeds the splitter, gets it back on the bounce play. Nice pass on the release.
You wonder what's happening there. Was that a touch or was that a try? The defender didn't turn around with any urgency. Just an easy touch there. Jones now off to Sinclair, early release again. Looking to use its footwork. Another pass out in front.
Like the attack though. Mixed up the attack quite well there. We've just got to press on here on defence. Really need to put everything they have into this last test. New Zealand down by 4 at the moment, so they've got to keep working hard. A lot of time left in this test with 30 minutes remaining. Sinclair makes the touch, pulls his corner, goes into shutdown defence. Releases their winger. Good defence there by New Zealand. Called play that.
It seems to be in 3 of the 5 Australian touchdowns is when the short side winger seems to be shutting rather than staying out mirrors. I know there's sometimes when you link speed and you have to get in there and help, but maybe just not trusting their insides.
Yeah, communication needs to go up on defence. As Australia look to manipulate, pull apart the New Zealand. Rolling back in. Will be under advantage here. No. Forward pass out of half. Australia. Uncharacteristic mistake there on the goal line. They've been pretty clinical, Australia, today. Away set by New Zealand here. This is good to see. In the ruck. Great refereeing. Logan Forrester, local referee, pulled up 50 tests in this series.
We actually missed it too, but John Dusto, the first game today was his 50th test cap. Another outstanding individual effort. Zealand now though, that's 3 penalties. Pretty much been welcomed all the way down to this end of the field. Australian team though have an opportunity to set their defence. Lance Davids, what does he do? Goes back to him. He couldn't quite catch the ball. First type of phase dump we've seen by any team this afternoon.
I like it. You talked about it earlier in the game, getting to some phase play. Second phase on a plant almost was effective for New Zealand. Willison on the ball. Goes to Turner. Yeah.
Actually,
good defensive shape from Australia. Open men's again. Early subbing. Piggyback down the field as well. Someone's mentioned a little something there. Can't piggyback Australian teams down the field like this. You've got to maintain your composure. New Zealand need to lift here.
First 6 minutes of the game, 2 penalties, and one of them was a hard touch. You had to give the next 6. We've had, it feels like 10, I would say, at least. Again, hopefully, referees' comms can get this game where both the teams are just playing end-to-end touch. Australia, now though, here he is. He set them up. Moffett, what can he do this time? He loves this corner. Again, I like what he did then. He threw it to where a couple of players could get to in the hope they would. Didn't happen that time for him, though. But Moffett, Hayden Moffett, he's taken a real lead in this game, Reece.
Same defence. New Zealand middle toucher on his corner side, just squaring up too much, and Australia will take that all day. They'll take that short side. Unable to complete that one, but New Zealand working their way down the field. Here we go. New Zealand looking to work something here. Splits in. Recount here for New Zealand on attack.
Earlier this year at one of the Nationals, I was commentating with Rod Walker, and I said to him, is the phase gone out of the game? Am I just 300 years old and that's not how you play touch these days? Because you hardly ever see it back at home. Putarangi, whenever he sets things up, he makes it look like he could do it in his sleep. There was a great finish by the number 8 for New Zealand. Folks.
Yep. Sweet play there, Maya. Early release back to the decision maker, and he makes the right decision there. Morgan Putarangi, as you mentioned earlier, isn't carrying any strapping on his body. He looks physically fit. Good to see him back in the lineup. 5-2 Australia. Good little wee mini fight back here from New Zealand. Got to keep working hard. Left side platform on an early peel release. There's the phase play you've been looking at, Maya. And there's the result. Australia get the ball down. Don't ever doubt yourself, Maya. The second phase is still a critical part of our game, and Australia here show you a good example. They draw the link defender up. Turner can't get back on side. New Zealand winger has to make a decision. Who does he take? Stays on his man, and unfortunately Turner couldn't get back out, and Australia hit straight back. Harry Kirk on the ball here. Oh, that's another unfortunate error from New Zealand. Can't be making too many more of those if you want to remain in this game at 6-2. Australia look very, very controlled, bringing the ball through the middle of the field, working to the box. Heavy touch attempt by Barnett. Australia still get it to the middle of the field. Great place to attack from. Looking for the early follow. You can see the body language of the player that scooped the ball there. He was looking for the follow a little earlier. New Zealand pulled the corner the other way after the toucher and couldn't recover. There you see Morgan Putarangi pulls his corner and just couldn't get back for that early follow.
Who was the man, though? It was Moffett once again. He is absolutely killing it in this game. Reece, if you were a first-time viewer and you watched the last 3 days of touch, you would say to someone who was a touchy, why do Australia get to the other end of the field so easy? My reason for making that statement is, do we coach the middle of the field, the orange stuff, in terms of, I guess, defensively and our ruck patterns as much as we do at the ends of the field?
Oh, we should be. But Australia, notably, I've made the comment so many times, the first 1 or 2 touches is just straight through the middle to open up the box side. It's a great tactic and one that could be employed. Good defensive setup by Australia. Short side link. Oh. Shuts inside. Created an opportunity there.
Probably saved a little bit of egg on his face too there for Avion Jones. I think that might have been an early put down. They bobbled out of his hands as it got closer to the scoreline. We'll see it here again. Looks like it's going to be a simple try. Put it on the ground earlier and the ball didn't want to follow him. Australia, though, straight down the middle, as we've commented on. New Zealand just continuously in a backwards motion. Just before, just too easy. Gets on the outside, 6th, 7th, 8th touchdown. Jake Notley didn't play yesterday. He's back in today. You can see why they've put him back in. Just on the outside of Jones. Little goosey of sorts, gets on the outside. Notley gets in for the 8th touchdown. Tell you what, they haven't started in second gear, this Australian team, Reece.
Straight out of the gate, 8-2, New Zealand. Just got to keep fighting here, not just for themselves, but for all the players that have played before. They've got to have some pride in their goal line here. E4 Jones, he'll be disappointed in that effort, but more also on attack here. Sinclair, very good at drawing defences off the goal line, and if they hold, they'll get penalised. Hot hands coming on. Morgan Putarangi. Let's see what he can do. Looking for the Deutz. Early on in the set, like the way they're testing the defence here. Come back to Davids. Turner here at the near side link. He'll play half. Runs the 32 Stormer. Bounce back out to the side. Davids bobbles the ball. Australia turn the ball over again.
Again, just out too far. What's the Deutz?
Deutsch is where you fake that you're going to come to dummy half and then you just pop out onto the short side there. It's a common play out of the North Island of New Zealand. A lot of teams use it now, thinking the defender will come in. Australia are now trying to work both sides of the field here. Predominantly have been attacking off the right hand, but now coming down the left-hand side to make the turnover ball a little bit more further for New Zealand to get it to their sub-box. As Morgan Pitirangi takes it forward in great physical condition. Poi Hippie drives well from the wing. Here comes Kirk with good speed. Been really impressed with the local lad, Harry Kirk, and a late call-up into this touchback men's team. Did himself and his family and his province and his club factory proud yesterday. Earned his spot again. It's hopeful we can see a little bit of attack from the lad as they come across here. New Zealand looking to open up the set. Checking back in. Willison plays half. Early feed. Looking for the check back. Second phase. There's your phase play. Early release. Draws another penalty.
Fresh set. We see a couple of the Kiwis heading towards the sub-box. They'll just take their time to set this one up, will New Zealand. Make sure they have their full complement. Coming out on the field, Eford Jones. His brother, it looks, yes it is. Heavy on. What do they get going here? Quick play to this left-hand side. Passes it back. We're just finding with the passes down at this tacking end in New Zealand, it's either just too far out on their fingertips or they're having to reach around on their hip to get the ball, gather the ball, and then get it out.
Fine. It's those fine lines. Here we go again. Looking for an option. Australia are under a two penalty count at the moment. One more penalty and one will be forced to the side for 6 on 5. New Zealand need to be patient here as the Jones brothers work together. Morgan Pitirangi comes on the peel. Early release to Kirk. It's a quick release. Finn Barnett.
Forward pass. Way back at the roll ball. Again, it's a pretty obvious picture for a referee. You just see where the planting player ends up in conjunction to the dummy half. Now, I know physics makes the ball go forward, but when you're not standing still passing it, there's no physics in that.
Yeah, right call there. Unfortunate for New Zealand. They really needed that as a bit of a confidence builder. Kirk lifting well from link there in the middle of the field. Making that touch there again. Australia, there's Moffett. He's been critical. Last play option on the hooter. Australia go long. Great positioning by Hoi Hippie going into this halftime break.
8-2. 8-2, Reece. Australia, they've just absolutely taken this game away from New Zealand in a half a touch, haven't they?
Yeah, we would think that already having won the series, they will take the foot off the pedal a wee bit. But they're just rolling through the orange zone easy as they like. And whenever they've got a chance to strike on the goal line, they're at 90% strike rate down there. So they're playing very, very well, this Australian Open men's side. You touched on it earlier that Hennessy may have picked up an injury or stuff like that. I did see him walk through a tunnel yesterday with his players, and I'm not saying he's by any means done, but it wouldn't surprise me if the people that are here in person and watching online could be seeing a illustrious career coming to an end. But back to the game at hand, they just look, like as you can see, like you talked about the passes getting to the fingertips, New Zealand catching it on the hip. Every pass Australia are throwing just goes straight to hits them on the chest. It's those fundamentals. We don't want to harp on about it, but I do believe that at a young age, Australian touch players are built on the basics of the game, and it's just thrashed into them. And I know we want to create our own way of playing touch and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, run, catch, pass, be super fit, be in great condition, have the attitude of knowing that not to be cocky or anything like that, but just be real confident in your ability, and they've got it in bucket loads. Yeah, well,
you have to harp on about the fundamentals. You've got to walk before you can run. And as talented as we are, that we can do 40-metre passes, we can step off both feet, we can do amazing dives. If you can't plant and be strong in the roll ball, if we can't pass on the run and catch on the run, then, again, all the rest of it is for nothing. And Australia just show us that fundamentally they're just unbelievable which means the accuracy rate, the conversion rate down at this end is super high. But a standout player, Hayden Moffett, he has been amazing in this first half, particularly in that first 10 minutes, setting up, I think, the first 4 touchdowns, or for the first 5 anyway, for this Australian team. Reece, there's a second half that's about to start. New Zealand are down 8-2. What's your thoughts on what we're going to see? Will we see a repeat of that first half? While New Zealand, yes, they need to come out and do it, do you think they can come out here and really win the second half?
There's some guys in this Australian team that are legends in their sport over in Australia and also globally. These guys out here running, they ain't going to take the foot off the pedal. They actually want to keep the foot on the throat here. So New Zealand have got to do everything they can to fight themselves, not only back into this match, but uphold a little bit of pride in that black singlet there that I'm sure a lot of ex-players will be hoping they do in the second half. It's good to see there's a Waikato connection out here. Jones looking to work his way off to the right-hand side there. Gets the early pass, looking to use his footwork, go into the passing game. Played it by Australia. 8-2. Good little wee play there. Like to see Jones work off the left-hand side of the field. E4 Jones. Player of the World Cup final last year. Sinclair's come onto the field. E4 Jones. Going to Davids. Looking to strike at the link. Splits in field.
Great start there, Davids. E4 Jones, come on, he set that up. A real calm approach. Composed. Set things up well there. Exactly what we were hoping. New Zealand would come out, get back on the board. He talked about putting a little bit of respect in the jersey. What great way to start there, Reece.
Oh, yes, and great play, great option. It's the variation on the splitter play coming through the inside there. Great recognition from E4 Jones. Really becoming a leader in this touch black men team. Australia looking to break down the New Zealand defence. Great shutdown defence. Turner's going to have to work, come back to the short side. Excellent work there.
Nearly got it away, didn't he, Reece? But a penalty there for a forward pass off the ruck. 8-3 New Zealand get the first touchdown in the second half. Like the body language from the Kiwis.
Morrison going forward there. Foot in the ruck. Well picked up by referee Logan Forrester. Family steeped in tradition out of the Prebbleton Rugby Club here in Christchurch. Logan puts a lot of time and effort into touchdown here in Canterbury. Deserves his appointment here in this match, being top 3 in the world. New Zealand working here. Good to see. David's back on the field. Harry Kirk striking from the middle. Takes the left-hand side. Pulls the corner. Gets to the left-hand passive. Beautiful. Once again, given the opportunity to play, usually comes off the right hand on the right-hand side of the field. This time attacking the left-hand side of the field in the passive line. Winger goes, Australian winger goes to knock it down, and New Zealand have hit back once again to bring the scoreline to 8-4. They're fighting hard here, Maya.
Yeah, excellent to see from the Kiwi team. First 2 touchdowns of the second half going to them. Still 4 away, but the way they've come out, they've been super accurate. They seem to be much more connected in terms of on the same page. Everyone going in the same direction defensively. You know, often you talk about you really build your attack off your defence, but it's similarly the other way too, right? It's much easier to defend when you're finishing sets, when you're getting touchdowns, just that emotional lift you get from scoring a touchdown, or the full length of the field you give yourself to defend in. And win another penalty here. There's been a massive momentum swing here, Reece.
Yeah, and it is. It's momentum through ability. The refs aren't trying to square this one up. New Zealand have come out at half-time with a clear tactic to play. Kirk again. Here he is sitting off. He's the hot hand at the moment. Looks to play the ball. Sweep gets it back to his hands. Beats him with his footwork. It's very hard being a local here in Christchurch calling this game, but I'm calling a spade, Maya. Here he comes off the right-hand side of the field with the crossover. The Jordan play beats the Australian defender through footwork and speed. Walks over. Beautiful wee grubber back to halfway. Harry Kirk standing up for the touchbacks in his debut series.
The Australians look like they had 8 defensively in the first half, and now it seems the Kiwis are beating them way too easy. Can you put your finger on what's happened defensively, or is it just New Zealand a lot more accurate, doing things with a lot more speed?
New Zealand have drawn a couple of penalties off the back of yards, and Poihipi, easy defence there.
Great read. He'd already gone before the ball left the Australian attacker's hands.
Away set coming possibly. No, Turner went off the back fence there, thought it might be coming. Here he goes on touch 3, getting to almost halfway on 3. Beautiful touch work, dummy half by Poihipi on the far side. 4 to the half. New Zealand have got good foot speed. Sinclair on the ball, fakes the sweep, comes back to the short side here for Jones. Passes.
Australia straight away, talking to some of the referees in that first test series, when there's a turnover, the ball doesn't bounce twice. The second time it's in their hand, ball's on the ground, before New Zealand could even get back, they're already straight down the field, 20 out from the scoreline. We haven't seen them play too much. Moffett in the second half. There's a hot hand in the first half. Langbridge, good defence. Down by 3. They were down by 6. They've cut that in half in 5 minutes.
Plenty of time left in this one, Maya. Touch blacks, open men's. Fighting really hard in front of a local crowd. The crowd's really built here up at Napanawai Sports Hub. Their start of their sets have been great. David's getting well over halfway on 4. Finn playing dummy half. Jones checks off to Willison. Willison back to Kirk. Feeds him early. Kirk with the footwork. Chops it back in. Here's the overlap. Comes back to young Jones. Feeds again to Willison. Good intercept. Good wing play there by Australia. This test is heating up, Maya.
Yeah, it is. Australia know that the Kiwis have not thrown out the white flag. They really come at them in the second half. 3 touchdowns in a row. Strong touch there from Avion. Couple to go here for Australia. Can New Zealand repel them once more? Keep the momentum that they've got here. Gets around the back. He hadn't been on for a while. Had Moffett to come out, and straight away he's already made that Australian attack look a lot more effective. We said we don't want to harp on about the fundamentals, but what have the Kiwis done differently here? They're running into spaces, making the Australian defenders come to them, make decisions. The passes have been going to hand. They're a lot more direct. The intensity they go in the platform that they set things up. We see it here again.
Their footwork, late footwork, and their speed on the ball is picked up, and they're completing sets. Morgan Pitarangi releasing Turner on the outside. Turner, play that by Australia. Or maybe that's just me being a little bit biased, wanting a turnover there.
No, you're right. You're right.
It did look like it touched the hand, and that's good.
Surely no one's ever called you biased.
Oh, there we go. There's the turnover. Good refereeing. Listening to the commentary box. Appreciate that. Here comes Davids.
Second penalty now, Reece. New Zealand, will they try and gameplay here? Try and suck that third one out just to make that opportunity to score the touchdowns. Obviously 6v5, get back by 2. You'd have to think the energy levels in that New Zealand box. Oh, you talk about a 14-point swing. Putarangi, we said that he's got no wrap on his leg, and Poihipi and Putarangi, they just dragged him down like it was easy. Can they defend the rest of the set now? The team's back. Probably be happy to give a penalty away here. Yes, they are. Just collect themselves.
Good to see some fight. Not giving up. Morgan Pitarangi, Poihipi. They just got a defensive set here. Here's the split of play. Early release play. Making a defense collapse. Poihipi couldn't get there on the shut defense. And Australia, just like that, they got the intercept down the other end on the follow play, which was the right play. And then they get the intercept, go down the other end of the field, draw the penalty, and just run the right play at the right time.
It was an all-or-nothing play, wasn't it, from the Australian defender here? But he had himself in the right position, really lifted up off the line, so he made that intercept a lot easier. I thought he was away, and then Poihipi and Putarangi mowed him down in 40 metres. Hopefully this doesn't dent it, the confidence here, I'm sure it hasn't, of this New Zealand team.
I really like this combination that's coming up here as we see young Avion Jones. Oh, they just made a little bobble just as Harry Kirk had subbed off to allow E4 Jones to come on with a fresh set.
How many times have we seen that? Just compounding errors with errors. First of all, not rolling square. Fundamental skill when they're not giving the ball back to the mark.
as Australia work the ball down here. They just get back into their rhythm. Good touch there by New Zealand. E4 Jones making a touch at link.
7 on.
Penalty halfway. So for those that don't know the rule, if you incorrect sub and you have 7 on the field, other team gets a tap penalty on the halfway line.
I'm not sure if you heard that commentary from the coach and the effects, Mike. They're talking about the 1%ers, getting the subbing right.
And that's their bread and butter. That's what they live on.
Attention to detail. I know you want to see Kirk back out here. Every time he gets out here, you're off your seat, and so you should be. He's been very good so far in this one. 10 minutes left, down by 4. Australia 9-5 in this last game of the 2025 Trans Tasman Test Series.
Yep. New Zealand here pressing hard on defence. Still plenty of time in this game. New Zealand have proven that they can go 2 or 3 in a row here. Australia rolling through the middle of the field here. Luke Kane, unsung hero for this team. Early release. Little flick play. Ineffective. New Zealand fighting hard here. Should see Sinclair on the field shortly. He'll rotate in. Turner's been great in this game, just doing his job, going forward. Predominantly playing a lot of defence. Here comes Sinclair. Fades across. Looks to get Kirk on his right-hand platform. Goes to the open side. Long ball off the right hand.
I think it was probably forward anyway, and the length of that whistle suggests it was. Penalty for Australia, forward pass.
Would like to see Kirk dig into the line a little bit more there before the release. Link on the far side. Needs to chop that hole to open up the wing play, create the collapse as Australia once again, first couple of touches through the middle of the field. Infield latch play. Strike from the middle, early release. The dive pop. Good defence once again by New Zealand. This near side. Kirk, Suter, working well together. Sinclair will look to 2-out drive this ball. No, 1 through the middle. Sinclair gets the ball, bangs it all the way to the wing. Like the way that they're confident in terms of releasing the ball as Sinclair drives again. Good leadership coming out of the loaded club. Counties Manuko. Lance Davids on 4. Gonna need a drive here. New Zealand checks it out to the link. Check again. Willison checks it back to the open side. Davids checks again. This is good ball movement. Last touch to Willison. Splits in. Looking for a late cut. Creates the opportunity here. Draw feed in the corner.
Reece, am I wrong, or does being down 8-2 at halftime just make the Kiwi team say, let's have a crack? Was a referee called there, Reece?
I believe one of the players, the winger, has run out. Believes he stepped out there on his last step or his hand. Not too sure, but referee was right there to call it. But
Kiwis have just come out in that second half, and they're just playing with a whole lot more freedom than in that first half, haven't they?
Yeah, they're fighting, and I think there would have been a little bit of embarrassment at that halftime call, and they didn't want to leave this beautiful city in that kind of frame of mind, but
much better there from New Zealand, not collapsing and going off the priority, staying mirrors on this left-hand side. Nowhere to run was the Australian attacker.
Yeah, Lennon's been great over the weekend. Meyer made a great touch yesterday in the corner. Thought he was the winger because of the obstructed view, but knowing that he's not, he's coming out of the mixed program, and his debut season for men's has been great. One of my players of the series for Australia is New Zealand. Drive here. Morgan puts it on you, looking to go off his right hand. Early release.
Haven't seen much of Kirk in the later part of the second, or the middle part of the second half.
No, he's over there. I can see on the far side there. He's full of energy. He's down the other end of the sub box with Sinclair getting ready to go. He's got plenty of energy. Sometimes it's just the way the rotation works. He's definitely playing well in the second test for his country. As Australia continue to look to strike from the middle of the field. Coming to the short side here. Little pop in. That's an intercept play. This touch won't be counted as 1. That's 0.
Barnett looks like he collected the knee with his head, unfortunately. We've already seen One player with a bit of a concussion from the mixed game.
I'll tell you who's been impressive for me in this game, Maya, is Pete Norman. Really leading the way without Hennessy in this game. He's just done the little things very, very well and drew that penalty there. Australia almost creating an opportunity on the short side once again. Turner able to slap that ball down. Defensive set, huge defensive set here for New Zealand.
Hayden Moffett, he killed them in the first half. He's here with the ball now. Doesn't get the ball back. They decide to go right to Griffin. Griffin with the back flick. You know what that means. It means it was a touchdown. Just a simple move.
Watch how he sweeps off the left-hand side here. They've got so much strike power. Nice wide sweep. He gets low. Morgan Putarangi says to the referee, I got him, but the ball's gone down. They've just got so much strike power. You hadn't seen Griffin for a while, and it doesn't matter who's going to be on the ball. They just have great ability to get the ball down. As Wilson looks to come back to Davids on a passive play. And once again, that was what was ineffective in the first half, is those passes just aren't going to hand, Maya.
No, too much pressure for the support player. And then we see the yellow machine straight down the middle of this field. New Zealand backpedaling, gets into the in goal. Now looking to link up. Yeah, there looked like there was a hold there. Just seen the shirt of the number 15 get pulled out of his shorts. Getting Sinbin. New Zealand would be down to 5 players for 4 sets. 2 sets from each team. Norman, the player you spoke about, the leadership he's showing in the absence of Hennessy, although he's always showing leadership even when Dylan is on there. He gets through nice and easy. You just see that shirt being pulled. Surprised it wasn't a penalty touchdown.
Yeah, New Zealand will look to promote the far side link here, down to 5. Kirk being held a little bit. Good touch by Willison.
I reckon he's going to call a penalty against Australia for a block play.
Yeah, he was holding on to Harry Kirk's singlet there as an offensive planter. Nice tidy work there again.
It's a good set. That's 1 down. 3 more to go. Completed sets, that is. So New Zealand here. 3 more sets. 2 of them will be on attack. Down to 5. You heard that in the effects mic again. 3 minutes to go. 10-5. Second half score 3-2 to New Zealand. Fortunately, they had both halves together in this one. Sinclair, just smart too. Do you hear those comms there in the effects mic too, Reese? Just letting his team know there's only 5 on. They can really squash in the middle, can't they?
Yeah, sometimes it's quite hard to defend that because you go at false insecurity. You try to think, we've got plenty of players. You've still got to be on your toes. But yeah, very hard to attack here, especially off the last touch.
2 sets down with Lance Davids in the sin bin. This is the 3rd set, the 3rd of 4. New Zealand can hold them out here. They've done extremely well. It's hard enough to defend Australia with 6, let alone 5. Sinclair making this touch. Australia, what are they going to do? Griffin out here and just simple numbers, knowing he had 2 on his outside. Nat Turner released out on Australia. Get over for the 11th one, and this is the 3rd game of this series.
Yeah, and as you can see there, the Australian player just getting out on the outside of Morrison. And unfortunately, Morrison unable to pick him up. Sinclair was on his right man. Definitely some learnings coming out of this game for a few of these players making their first series debuts, that's for sure. What I do know is that Jones, Morgan Putarangi, they won't be giving up. They'll still be giving it their all.
Needed to make that touch, did Folks. Putarangi was set. Jones goes short. Player back now on, that's 4 sets. That Lance Davids has been off. He gives the water bottle back and runs straight out there once again. No doubt he'll be wanting to make things up for his team as we've just crept in to the last minute, Reece.
Yeah, it's the last minute of this Test series, and Australia just are not taking the foot off the pedal. As you can see, driving forward.
Turnover here. New Zealand will have another opportunity to score a touchdown. Wasn't another voluntary roll ball. Referee happy to play on. Last game well out of hand. 30 seconds to go. Suda brought up his 50th yesterday.
As Kirk Geordie's in there. Sinclair feeds the quickie. Referee Baggio backs it up. Gives Avion Jones the try on the dive. It's a smart play with young Jones. He's a good diver. Clear miss by the Australian player. Ball down.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if there's enough time on the clock for us to get started again. We've got a whole bunch of zeros on our TV. Imagine if they do get the tap off, Australia will just walk it forward and take the touchdown. Australia victors once again. 3-0 whitewash of the New Zealand Open men's in this 2025 Trans Tasman Test Series. Look, Reece, before I wrap this one up, what's an overall comment from you with regards to the last 3 days and what you have had the opportunity to be part of?
Yeah, just in terms of the facilities and the infrastructure that's been prepared for this Anzac Test Series. Great facility, great people organising. The touch has been great. The mix went close. The women's showed that there's signs for the future. The men's, unfortunately, yesterday couldn't take it to a series decided today, and Australia have come over the top in all three grades. But just from me, being invited to call these tests, blessed and grateful for the opportunity, Maya, for you to lead us in our team, to the director and the staffs and the Canberra people that have provided this platform for not only the home people to watch, but also across the globe. E mihi ana. Huge thanks from me, and hope to get another call.
Just to the local community, Reece, this Christchurch City Council, to the event sponsors in Essex and all of the other partners that we continually have supporting this game of touch here in New Zealand. New Zealand Community Trust, High Performance Sport, SAS, Silverfern, just a massive thank you. Without you, this event would never be what it could be. Again, to the organising committee, take your head off, take a bow, and big applaud to them. Well done, mate. Privilege it's been to call the last 3 days of you, and what a privilege it is. The top teams, the top players, and the top event that you can get to. Sad we waited so long to get here. It started on Friday. We celebrated and remembered the Anzacs. We stood for 9 national anthems. We've seen haka after haka. We've seen improvement. We've seen growth. But most of all, as you see on the pictures, we see connection. We see friendship, because that's what it's all about. It's been a great 2025 series. Looking forward to the next. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and thanks for being with us here. See you later.